So for thousands of years, I mean, across pretty much every corner of the globe, music and faith have been completely inseparable.
Yeah, they really have. And it's not just a tradition. The whole idea is rooted in this ancient belief that sound itself was, a divine gift.
Like it came from the heavens.
Exactly. Ancient civilizations didn't just use music for worship. They believed sound was the direct channel, maybe the only way you could actually communicate with the divine.
And it was also just super practical, right? We're talking about a time way before most people could read or write.
So if you have these incredibly long sacred texts, how do you make sure people remember them?
You give them a beat.
You give them a beat, you give them a melody. Priests would use chanting specifically to help huge groups of people memorize complicated texts. It just sticks in your brain so much better that way.
And that's really what we want to unpack today, how that tradition is still so alive. This music is still this critical bridge between our physical world and the spiritual one.
Yeah, it connects modern believers right back to their ancestors. It's a sense of continuity.
So where do we even start with this?
We have to start with the most basic instrument of all, the human voice,
Chanting.
chanting. It's arguably one of the oldest forms of religious expression, and you find it in almost every major faith on earth.
And a lot of those traditions actually see the voice as the purest instrument there is.
Well, it makes sense, right? It comes directly from the body. You don't need to build it. It's completely unfiltered.
And what's really fascinating is the mental purpose behind it. You see monks and nuns chanting these repetitive phrases for hours.
Right, and that's not a performance. It's a tool. The repetition is designed to help them get into a state of deep meditation.
To clear out all the mental clutter.
Exactly, so they could focus completely on the spiritual experience. The intention is everything. A great example of this is the Gregorian chant.
Okay, so that's the famous European style, right? Very stark.
Just a single melodic line, no instruments, no harmony, nothing.
And that's on purpose.
Totally. The whole point is to make sure your focus stays entirely on the spiritual message, on the words themselves. It also gets a huge group of people breathing together, speaking in unison.
Which must create this really powerful feeling of togetherness.
It's almost magnetic. It links you to the group.
Okay, so if the voice is the purest instrument, what happens when you bring in these huge physical instruments?
Then you get something like the organ. I mean, in the Western tradition, that's the icon.
And these things are massive. They're basically part of the architecture.
They are. The sound they make is so powerful, it literally vibrates through these enormous stone cathedrals. It was meant to feel like the physical presence of the divine in that space.
But you don't always hear an organ in church today.
No, there's been a huge shift. A lot of modern churches now are deliberately using instruments like electric guitars, drums, keyboards.
Why the change?
It's a very conscious move to appeal to younger generations.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes the worship experience sound more like the music they already listen to. It feels more current.
And that really shows you how diverse this all is. Some religions strictly forbid instruments completely.
Right. Only the human voice, while others use them, but maybe just as signals.
Like bells.
Exactly. You'll hear small bells rung during a ceremony, and that's not for a musical performance. It's a cue. It tells everyone, hey, pay attention. A really important part of the ritual is happening right now.
Okay, so let's go back to the communion for a second and talk about hymns.
Right. These are songs written specifically for prayer and thanksgiving.
And they're designed to be simple.
Super simple, easy melodies, straightforward lyrics. The goal is for absolutely everyone to be able to sing along right away.
And the lyrics aren't just praise, are they? They're often telling the core stories and beliefs of the faith.
Yes, they're basically theology lessons set to a catchy tune. It's an incredibly effective way to teach. And singing them together just builds this immediate, strong sense of community.
These are the songs that get passed down from parents to children, keeping that heritage alive.
But we have to look globally, because not all devotional music sounds like this. If we look east to India and Asia, it's a completely different world of sound.
You're talking about bhajans.
Bhajans, yeah. These are devotional songs in traditions like Hinduism and Buddhism, and they use these amazing instruments.
Like the harmonium and the tabla.
Exactly. The harmonium is that small reed organ, and the kabla are those two small, very complex drums. The songs often focus on celebrating deities or living a good, virtuous life.
And the rhythms are incredibly complex.
They are, and it's not random. Those complex rhythms are often meant to represent the natural cycles of the universe, the seasons, life and death. all of it.
Which ties into mantras, right?
It does. Mantras are these short, sacred phrases that are repeated over and over musically.
Hmm.
The goal there is to clear your mind of all distractions and find this deep inner peace.
It's more about the internal process.
It's all about finding that balance and harmony.
Okay, let's pivot to a style where music becomes this incredible expression of identity and struggle. I'm thinking of gospel music.
Oh, absolutely. A powerful genre that grew directly out of the religious experiences of African Americans in the U.S.
It takes those traditional spirituals and just injects them with the energy of jazz and
And the
blues.
emotional range is just
Yeah.
immense. A gospel song can take you from the deepest sadness and pain one moment.
To this overwhelming, defiant joy and hope the next.
It's so raw, and that's its power. And it's not a performance you just sit and watch.
No, it's all about participation, the call and response singing.
Right. The congregation is clapping, dancing, shouting. Everyone is contributing to this shared spiritual energy.
And that energy didn't just stay in the church.
Not at all. It exploded outwards and basically laid the foundation for early rock and roll, for R&B, for so much pop music. The influence is just monumental.
Now, if we look at Islamic and Jewish traditions, we see sound being used with this incredible, almost mathematical precision.
That's a great way to put it. In Islam, you have the adhan, the call to prayer.
It's recited from a minaret 5 times a day.
And it's very melodic, but it's not singing in the Western sense. It's a recitation that uses melody and rhythm to inspire faith and call the community together.
And in Judaism,
You have the cantillation of the Torah. This is a very specific traditional way of chanting the holy texts during synagogue services.
and it's led by a cantor who is a trained expert.
Exactly. And what's crucial is that it follows these little symbols written above the Hebrew words. They're called tropes.
So they're like musical instruction.
They're the exact melodic instructions. It's a system that ensures the tradition stays intact and the clarity of the words is never, ever lost.
Which brings up a huge question. How did this need for sacred music actually end up shaping, all of music history?
Oh, the connection is absolute. I mean, during the Renaissance and Baroque periods, think Bach, Mozart, Beethoven.
Yeah.
The church was their primary patron. They were the ones paying for the music.
So that funding was the engine pushing music forward.
Totally. The church wanted bigger, grander, more complex music for their services. These massive works like masses and oratorios. That demand for sophistication is what pushed composers to develop things like polyphony, where you have multiple independent melodies all happening at once.
So a lot of what we think of as classical music was actually developed inside the church.
For sure. And before books were common and cheap, music wasn't just art, it was the teacher.
It's how you taught moral lessons.
Right. A lecture is easy to forget, but a catchy tune that teaches you about kindness or honesty, it sticks with you, especially if you're a kid.
Speaking of connecting with younger people, let's look at today. We're seeing this explosion of contemporary Christian music, or CCM.
Yeah, and that genre is designed from the ground up to sound just like the pop and rock you hear on the radio. The production, the instruments.
But the lyrics are all about faith.
Exactly. It's religion adapting to cultural tastes. Many churches now have full-on worship bands with electric guitars and high-tech sound systems. It's a deliberate choice to make worship feel current and relatable.
Okay, so finally, we have to talk about the science behind all this. What is sacred music actually doing to our brains?
This is the really cool part. Scientists have studied this, and listening to or singing this kind of music literally triggers the release of feel-good chemicals in your brain.
So it's a physical reaction.
It's a real physical reaction. We know that slow, rhythmic chants can actually lower your heart rate. It's like a natural tranquilizer that reduces stress.
But then a big triumphant hymn can do the opposite.
It can trigger a rush of dopamine, making you feel energized and connected to something much, much bigger than yourself. It creates this sense of communal euphoria.
Which is why music lets us express feelings that are just too big for words.
Yes, it takes over and speaks for you when you can't find the words yourself.
So whether it's an ancient chant, a precise reading of a holy text, or the modern rock anthem, music is this essential, universal part of the human experience. It communicates faith and history and connects ancient practices right to our modern world.
And that makes you wonder, right? If the music of faith has always adapted, from the organ to the electric guitar, what new musical technology do you think will be used to express spiritual ideas 100 years from now?
Something to mull over. Good luck with your studies. See you next time.